first.
Take 2.
Okay. Is there any? I'm sure that people want to become a pilot. Very many young people are interested in becoming a pilot, but they might need some suggestions from a real pilot. What do you think that it's the most essential traits to become a pilot, and what kind of personality will be a good fit to become a pilot? That's 2 different things.
Yeah, like for me, the most important attributes in being a pilot is you need to have the right attitude to learn.
Yeah.
You want to constantly be learning, constantly improving your flying skills, constantly improving your knowledge, and eager to work hard and improve yourself. If you're kind of half-hearted about it and you want to do the bare minimum at work, it's not going to be the right environment for you. But if you want to improve and want to learn and want to keep improving, then having the right attitude is number 1. Good, strong work ethic, so you're self-motivated and you will go off and read all the manuals and you're passionate about making safest possible flight. So having a good work ethic for that reason, self-motivated and the right attitude. And the final attribute I think is we train for something that will never happen, like we said earlier. We train and train and train in the simulator and in the ground school and in flight school for events that we hope we never have to do in real life. But when they do happen, it will be high stress and it will be high stress, anxiety environment.
Yeah.
So
High pressure.
Yeah, high pressure. So you want to be able to deal with the high pressure. So for that reason, I think someone who is calm and level-headed and doesn't get too excited about the small problems, that you can keep calm under pressure is quite important. And don't worry if you make a mistake. In flying is like life in that we make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
So if you make a mistake, that's okay. But it's how you react to your mistake. How you learn from your mistake, fix the mistake and move on. That's what's important. So you keep a bigger picture perspective of what's happening. When something does go wrong, you don't panic, you don't find out who is wrong, or you just figure out how to fix the problem.
How to tackle the problem. It's not you to blame the person or something.
No.
Let's work together to solve the problem.
For that reason, I would say that ego is not a good place for flight deck. You have to leave your ego outside and you go in there. If you make a mistake,
be really humble.
Just learn with it and get on. And there's no place for ego because you have to work together as a team when things go wrong, and then you have to be, when that high pressure situation comes, you want to be able to deal with it correctly.
Just now Peter shared with me that even until this day with 12 years of flying experience, he's still like learning something every day, right?
Yeah, every day,
so
every day is a school day.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement or new knowledge. Is that no one is perfect. So okay. Okay. So, is there any memorable experiences for the flights, or the weather, the human factor? Anything that particularly in that's most memorable experiences to share?
Well, I have good and bad experience.
Yeah, good and bad.
How about I give you one good one and one bad one?
Sure.
I'll give you the bad one first.
Okay.
Sometimes the plan that you make doesn't happen and things change during the flight. And there can be conflict of interest with people, which can be different personalities can come into play. And there was one flight I remember when I was first officer. We were flying between 2 countries in Europe and the weather was supposed to be good. When we arrived there, the weather was quite bad. And I could see the captain wasn't mentally prepared for this, so he was taken a bit by surprise. And I was first officer, so I was assisting him, and we were both trying to come to a conclusion what we would do, how long we would wait for the weather to improve. We decided to make an approach to the runway. When we got down to the runway, the minimum point before we landed, we realised that it was too foggy.
Okay.
So we went around, and I remember the procedures we flew in the go-around weren't perfect. They were a bit, let's call it messy. But we did a safe go-around and came around. And then we had a decision to make. How long are we going to wait now before the weather to improve before we divert?
Yeah.
And the weather started to improve. So we tried a second attempt. But as we got down to the runway, it got worse again. And we went around again. And the whole time I remember the captain was just being a bit
nervous.
He was a little bit stressed.
Grumpy.
Stressed and maybe not making the correct decisions. So I had to help him as a team. We were being safe, but you could tell there was something wrong with him. Yeah. We eventually diverted and landed at a different airport. And you could see this guy, he was very stressed out, he was very angry, probably at himself for not performing at his best. Yeah. But he knew he couldn't really take it out on me because we'd been working together to fix the problems. Yeah. So instead of looking in at himself saying, okay, I could have done that better, when the door opened and the flight dispatcher came on, who was like a young Spanish guy, this captain got really angry with this flight dispatcher. I think personally because he was just angry at himself and he wanted to focus, he wanted to vent his anger on somebody. Yeah. And I remember that day thinking, wow, that's not how I want to do this job if I ever become a captain. You know, you have to realise if you do something wrong, you need to look at yourself, not look at other people around you. So that was a bad day for me because it was how I witnessed the job should not be done. Yeah. And I'll never forget that day because it was a very uncomfortable flight. It was managed not so brilliantly, but I learned a lot that day. I learned a lot of how you don't do the job and how you don't treat people. And I hope that's made me better now. And if I make a mistake or a problem, I try and fix it. You know, if it's my fault, I'll admit it straight away. It's my fault. I try to. You're reminded of that story. Yeah, I remind myself of that time and how that's not the way it should be done. Yeah. And what are the good examples? A good memory for me personally is when I became captain for the first time. I was 27 years old. I'd been working very hard. I was unemployed for that time, like I said before. I'd taken lots of loans up from the bank and from my parents. I was starting to pay them off finally, and getting this promotion at work would help me pay them off even quicker. Yeah. And it's been something I'd aspired to become a captain since I first started flying. And on that day of months and months and months of preparation and studying, reading the books, and to finally finish that last training flight and finish the checklist, and then the training captain said to me that I had passed. Congratulations, I was going to become a captain. I was absolutely in the air. Yeah, I was walking on air for sure. It was one of the happiest moments of my career, and I'll never forget that. Yeah. Amazing.
Congratulations. Okay, good. So here are some small questions from myself to ask you. Could you explain to us what do you do in a simulator? Because we heard it all the time, but we actually, as a cabin crew, we don't know what do you do there.
So the simulator is basically
a test.
It's a test that goes on in a basically little metal box that's held up by hydraulics. Like when you sit on it, it simulates exactly what a plane feels like. Yeah, and it's so weird, it feels pretty much close to reality. But even when you apply full power for takeoff, like on the real life, you're shooting down the runway very fast. But it makes the sensation, it gives you the sensation. And with the visual effects, you think you're in an airplane and you think you're about to take off.
So why do you do there?
So in there, they will, every 6 months to 12 months, you will go in there to renew your skills and refresh your skills. And they will give you like a day from hell in there. You're going to get an engine failure, you're going to get an engine fire, maybe you have a terrorist threat, maybe you have a bomb threat.
Decompression.
Maybe you have decompression, maybe you have a rejected takeoff, maybe you have a go-around, maybe you have all these things. Maybe you have a hydraulic problem, an air conditioning problem, maybe you have a fuel problem. Sometimes you don't know, sometimes they give you some information on what to expect. For sure you can prepare a little bit to get your knowledge up to date, which is the reason we do it.
But you never see what will be coming, right?
You don't know for sure. You don't know for sure.
Before you sit at the simulator.
So you sit down there and it usually takes 4 hours, and you come out after 4 hours after working pretty hard because you've had all the malfunctions come together, not just one. They're coming together in groups, and it's quite stressful. And it's very good practice because it gives you confidence in yourself so you can do it, and it's forcing you every couple of months
Yeah.
to study. It's forcing you to get back into the books
Get to your
extra hard,
Yeah.
which is the reason we do it, to keep our skills and our knowledge current. So it's necessary, definitely. And it makes you feel more confident, so I'm always quite happy to do it.
Yeah.
It's challenging but good.
Okay, so what is another one? It's like a cockpit will do a walk around of the aircraft, right? What do you do? Why, and when? When do you do that?
What is a walk around? A walk around is done before every flight.
Why?
You will do it. The reason you will do it is you want to check the exterior of the aircraft. Has there been any leaks? Any fuel leak? Any hydraulic leak, which is what moves the wings and what moves the tail?
Yeah.
And so you'd start normally at the nose of the aircraft and you go clockwise around the aircraft. One of the pilots will do this check and an engineer will do this check. So you've got two separate checks being carried out. It's like a cross check.
Together.
They'll do it at different times.
At different time, I mean, but you have to cross check.
They both do it, correct. And you're looking at the wheels, you're looking at the tires, making sure there's no bald patches on the tires, making sure it's all correctly inflated. You're looking at the condition of the engine, make sure there's no birds that have got into the engine, you know it can happen. The exterior of the aircraft, there's no bumps or bangs. Maybe when they were loading the baggage, perhaps they bumped off it with the truck, making sure there's no dents. Looking for any leaks, like I said earlier, oil, fuel, hydraulic leaks. General inspection of the outside of the aircraft, basically. The lights, make sure the lights are all working. It takes about 10 minutes. It's literally just walking around and looking very closely at what's there. But it's just an overview of the exterior of the aircraft.
See if everything is in place and still there, so that for the next flight you will not have any problems.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. Once you take off and then you're at the cruising stage, what do you do when during this low activity phase?
Yeah, it's probably the most boring part of our job is when you're.
But that is the longest part.
Yes.
In the flight.
Yeah, so if it's a long flight, the cruise is, it can be 8 hours. It can be more. Depends. So basically, the duties are split in two. One pilot will be doing the paperwork, so checking the fuel log, checking the route, making sure it's all correct, and also.
Is it still a manual? Like you still writing it down?
Yeah, you
not
do.
Like digital.
You take a hard copy and you write it down.
Why? Why not electronic? Why not electronic?
In the future, it will go to all electronic, but in aviation they like to have a paper record of everything still. In the future, that will probably change, but not yet. The paperless cockpit is a concept that has been talked about for a long time but hasn't happened yet. It will happen eventually.
Maybe it has some good effect because digital can disappear, right?
Yeah, that's why they like to have the hard copy of the paper. It's right in front of you.
Makes sense. Okay.
So one person will do the paperwork and the radio, and the other pilot will basically monitor the autopilot system to make sure it's working correctly. Basically, you're just looking at the screens in front of you and the panels, making sure nothing is out of the ordinary, making sure everything is in the correct place, and all the systems are operating correctly. It can be a low activity phase, so it can get quite boring and tedious, so it's important to be disciplined enough to continue checking. During this phase, it's sometimes advisable, and some airlines allow what's called a controlled rest, where if it's a night flight, for example, and it's a long flight, it's probably a good idea if someone has a rest at some stage, so that for the landing in the critical phase, everyone is fully sharp. And how some airlines allow that to happen is called controlled rest, where one pilot will take the responsibility of the two pilots just for a short period. You're talking like maximum 40 minutes probably, where the other person takes considered a cat nap, like 10 minutes to fall asleep, 20-minute nap, and 10 minutes to wake up. So 40 minutes total, max 60, and you would do that in turns just to refresh your brain. So when you do come in for landing, you're both wide awake.
So you don't get fatigued.
Yeah, this is some airlines allow this.
I see. Okay. So we're almost wrapping it up. Anything that you would like to say to the audience, or anything everyone wants to be a pilot?
If you like, I started this career with no idea about how to become a pilot.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with I don't see myself doing anything else right now. Right now. It's if you're sitting at home thinking it's a thing you might want to do, then I would say definitely look into it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. If you have the right attitude and you're prepared to work hard enough and you can get the funding, then you can do it. Don't listen to anybody else, just do it.
Okay, thank you very much today, Peter.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you on board in the future. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, also sorry, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, then you can comment below and I'm sure I will ask Peter and then I'll ask Peter and then I'll in turn answer you. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.